Rain stitched the sky as the black gates slid open. The Caldwell mansion rose like a stern judge, clean marble, cold glass, no warmth. People whispered when they said his name, Robert Caldwell. A billionaire who fired 7 nannies for less than a broken plate. A man who measured loyalty in seconds and mistakes in headlines. Sophia kept her hands folded on her lap. Her shoes were still damp from the bus. She could smell lemon polish, wet grass, fear. Inside, the foyer gleamed like a museum. You don't breathe loud in places like this. You try not to exist. New maid? Emma asked, not even looking up from her tablet. Her pearls were too tight for her smile. Rules are simple. Clean, don't speak unless spoken to, don't touch the boy. The boy? Sophia asked softly. Michael, said John, head of security, voice like a steel door. 5 years old. Nonverbal. Mr. Caldwell's only son. A hush. Even the rain seemed to listen. Sophia nodded. Understood. She worked the first hour in silence. Windows. Silver. Water rings that told stories of glasses nervously set down. She moved like a shadow. In the hallway, a small shape stood near a window. Blue socks, rumpled shirt, hair the color of late wheat after a storm. Michael stared at the gardens. His fingers fluttered, flitting like birds. Sophia didn't approach. She sat on the floor at a distance and placed a folded towel between them like a small island. From her pocket, she took a threadbare bracelet, tiny bells woven with river blue string. Her mother's. She let it tinkle once. Soft. A sound like a secret. Michael's eyes flicked. Silent moment. Hi, Sophia whispered. It's pretty, right? He shifted closer, not touching, just circling like a cautious moon. Sophia kept her gaze down. No pressure. No rush. No words tied to deadlines. The house had too many of those already. A door clicked. Evelyn, the chief of staff, swept through like a winter wind. Is this necessary? The maid is sitting. Sophia stood quickly. Apologies. I didn't. Don't touch the boy, Evelyn clipped. Footsteps thundered. Robert. Black suit. Watch that could pay a year's rent. A face sharpened by grief people only gossiped about. His eyes were needles. He doesn't like strangers, he said. If you distress him, you're gone. Understand? Sophia nodded. Yes, sir. Robert's attention slid to his son. Michael didn't blink. Didn't move. Then he took 2 tiny steps forward. He reached out and tapped the blue string bracelet. Once. Twice. He pressed it to his ear. The bells barely whispered. Sophia lowered her voice. It's gentle. Like rain. Michael's mouth trembled. A breath. A shape of a sound. S. It might have been the air. It might have been nothing. But to Sophia, it felt like a door creaking open somewhere far inside. Enough, Evelyn said. Work. As Sophia turned away, Emma's pearls clicked. 7 nannies lasted longer than your interview did, she murmured. Don't get attached. People like you are replaceable. Maybe. But Sophia had felt something, a thread pulled taut between the boy and the bells. A promise made in a room that swallowed hope. What would you do if you felt a child reach for you without words? Would you risk your job for a sound only your heart swears it heard? Have you ever stood in a house that could buy everything except tenderness? That night, as the storm calmed, Sophia watched Michael press his palm to the window, listening for something. She wondered if he was listening for her. In the morning, she would break a rule, softly, and everything would change. Before the sun lifted, the kitchen smelled like warm bread and coffee money couldn't buy. The staff moved in crisp lines. Stainless steel whispers. Sharp glances. Sophia stayed small. She set a bowl of blueberries aside. She poured milk slow, so the world wouldn't spill. Then she hummed. Just a thread of melody. The lullaby her mother used when rent notices grew teeth. A tune like a swing on a quiet street. Hum, pause. Hum, pause. She cut the rhythm with silence so the mind could breathe. Silent moment. Michael appeared in the doorway. Barefoot. Blue socks balled in his fist. He didn't enter. He watched the air, as if the tune drew pictures only he could see. "Good morning, Michael," Sophia said, eyes still on the blueberries. "I'm making a fort later. A quiet place. You don't have to come. But you can." Fort. Emma's laugh was a thin knife. "You are a maid, not a clown. Make the beds, Sophia." Sophia nodded. She carried linens to a sunny guest room. She looped sheets over chair backs. Draped blankets like soft mountains. The room became a cloud. A quiet tent. Inside, light turned honey gentle. The air felt safe. She placed the bracelet on a pillow. Bell hush. Invitation, not command. Michael hovered at the threshold. He took a step. Then, another. He ducked his head and crawled in. The light kissed his hair. He sat with legs crossed, palms open, as if waiting for rain. "Can I sit?" Sophia asked, staying outside the tent. Michael didn't look at her, but he tapped the pillow twice. She sat at the edge. Sophia touched her throat. She let a hum travel from chest to lips, slow as a river. "Mm." She placed a blueberry near him. "Mm. Milk. Mm. Morning." She wasn't teaching, not really. She was offering air with shape. Breath with soft edges. She let silence follow each sound so it wouldn't chase him. Michael reached. Pressed his small palm to her throat. Felt the hum. His gaze lifted to her mouth. He tried. Air moved. A tremor of will. Sophia closed her eyes to keep from crying. "That's it. No hurry." A shadow darkened the doorway. Robert. Storm in a suit. His voice was low, dangerous. "What is this?" "A quiet tent," Sophia said. "For calm. You were told not to interfere." "I'm cleaning the sheets, sir." She kept her tone even. "Calm feeds calm." Michael touched the bracelet. The bell whispered. "S." The tiniest spark. Light on water. Then he froze, eyes wide, as if sound itself had startled him. Emma folded her arms. "It's a circus, Mr. Caldwell. You hired a maid. Not a miracle worker." Robert's jaw worked. "Pack your things," he said to Sophia. "I won't have experiments done on my son." Sophia's stomach fell. She looked at Michael. He was breathing fast. She slowed her own breath so he could watch. In, out, in, out. He matched her, tiny chest rising with hers. The room softened. "What would you do? Plead or leave? Should a maid speak against a man who owns half a skyline? Have you ever felt that one more second might be the bridge between silence and a word?" "I'll go," Sophia whispered. "But let me walk him back to the window first." Robert pointed to the door. Now. By nightfall, a choice, a crisis, and a single sound would crack the mansion open. The mansion turned bright and sharp by evening. Crystal chandeliers. Laughter the shape of money. The annual foundation gala, where people said impact while counting tax deductions. Evelyn moved through the crowd like a conductor. "We keep appearances," she told Robert. "No outbursts. Donors expect to see Michael. They want hope." "Hope isn't a performance," Robert said, but his voice lacked conviction. Sophia kept to the edges, dress plain, hair pinned back. She had not packed her things. John had found her in the staff corridor and murmured, "Give him until tonight. Maybe don't leave yet." His eyes, stern as they were, carried a human ache. Michael stayed upstairs, a quiet planet above the noise. Sophia slipped away during speeches and climbed the velvet steps. In the hallway, she heard a stuttering glitch of sound, music from downstairs, amplified and fractured by marble. She stepped into Michael's room. Lights were low. He sat under the window, rocking slightly, fingers circling his wrist like a small orbit. She knelt. Too loud. He pressed his palms over his ears. Silent moment. Sophia closed the curtains, stuffed towels at the door gap, dimmed the lamp. A pocket of soft. She began that hum again, river slow, no sharp edges, letting the sound swell and recede like the tide. She tapped a gentle beat on her knee. Steady. Predictable. Safe. Breathe with me, she whispered. In. Out. In. Out. His shoulders eased. He peeked at her, eyes wet. Downstairs came Evelyn's clipped voice behind her. We need him. Now. We. Sophia asked. Or your donors? Evelyn's smile never touched her eyes. Are you criticizing your employers while on my time? Michael isn't a promise you wheel out, Sophia said, surprising herself. He's a person. Evelyn opened her tablet. Security. John arrived, jaw tight. He didn't meet Sophia's gaze. Emma slipped in behind them, smug. Also, check the maid's apron pocket. John hesitated. Emma. Check, Evelyn repeated. Sophia reached into her pocket and froze. A diamond cufflink. She had never seen it. Her breath went cold. Emma's smile bloomed like mold. Thief. Emma hissed softly. I told you, Robert. These people. My people, Sophia said, voice shaking. Don't steal. Robert arrived, face closing like a door. He didn't ask. He didn't listen. Get her out. Michael flinched at the sharpness in the room. He rocked faster. His fingers fluttered so hard they blurred. John took Sophia's elbow, gentle but firm. I'm sorry. Sophia looked at Michael. She placed the bracelet on the carpet within his reach. It's yours, she whispered. For when the noise ends. She met his eyes and mouthed a word slowly, no sound. Stay. Then she let John lead her away. They reached the elevator. The gala's base thudded through the walls. The doors opened with a tired sigh. From the hallway behind them, a sound rose. Raw. New. A rough angled shape of breath trying to become meaning. John turned. Sophia's heart stopped. Michael stood at the end of the corridor, hand on the bracelet, eyes locked on Sophia. His chest heaved. His lips formed. What happens to a man who's never heard the word he needs most? Would you run back if the world tried to drag you out? Have you ever felt time split into before and after? The first word would fall like a bell. It wasn't loud. It wasn't clean. But it was undeniable. Fia. The corridor went still. Even the lights seemed to dim. Evelyn's tablet slid an inch in her hand. Emma's mouth opened, then closed. John let go of Sophia's elbow. Robert's eyes shattered. He looked younger and older in the same second. Michael, he whispered, as if the name might break if spoken. Michael took one step. Then another. He kept one fist tight around the blue string bracelet. With the other, he reached for Sophia's sleeve. He didn't touch. He hovered, seeking permission. Sophia sank to her knees to bring the world down to his height. I'm here, she said, voice shaking. She touched her chest, then pointed to the floor, then to him. Here. With you. He watched her mouth. He pressed fingers to her throat again, feeling the hum that wasn't there. She breathed slow so he could borrow the rhythm. I, she mouthed, barely a breath. Stay, he said. It was whole. It was small and enormous. It was a bridge built out of rain and patience and the tiny bell of a bracelet. Robert covered his mouth. Silent moment. Years of money couldn't buy this sound, and yet it filled the corridor like the first day of spring. Tears stood in his eyes, but pride kept them from falling. Who planted the cufflink? John asked quietly, because the moment demanded truth. Cameras don't lie. He tapped his earpiece. A feed glowed on his phone. Emma's hand. Emma's quick push into the maid's pocket while Sophia lifted a stack of towels. The video played out in brittle clarity. Emma took a step back. You don't understand. We understand enough, John said. Evelyn's voice softened for the first time. Mr. Caldwell, Robert. Robert couldn't answer. He stepped toward Michael, stopped, and knelt. Son, he said, voice that had forgotten how to be gentle. He held out his hands, palms empty. No demands. I'm here too. Michael's gaze flicked between them. He put the bracelet into Robert's hands, as if to say, hold the quiet with me. Then he leaned his forehead against Sophia's shoulder. Silent moment. Downstairs, someone tapped a champagne flute. Laughter swelled and faded, unaware that upstairs, the universe had pivoted. Sophia exhaled. I won't stay, she said to Robert, surprising even herself, if this house keeps breaking people. Him. The staff. Me. Robert looked up at her. Shame. Awe. A man undone by the simplest truth. What do I change? Everything, Sophia said. Start with how you speak. Then how you listen. Then how you pay. Then who you protect. What if I fail? He asked. You won't, she said, touching Michael's hair. If you let him lead. Would you trust a maid to teach you how to be a father? Should power step back when kindness knows the way? If you had to choose between image and truth, which one would you take to sleep? In an hour, the gala would end, but in the kitchen, a richer home would begin. They didn't fix the world in a speech. They fixed it in the kitchen. Robert stood at the long steel counter, hands flat. Staff gathered, suspicious, arms crossed, eyes calculating old wounds. The chandelier clicked like brittle ice. I'm sorry, Robert said. Just that. Not lacquered. Not dressed. To all of you. Especially Sophia. His voice shook. It was human. Emma is dismissed for misconduct. He looked at John. Back pay across the board. Overtime honored. Health benefits extended. Therapy covered for any child of staff who needs it. And here, tonight, we start building a sensory room upstairs. Quiet lighting. Weighted blankets. Soft walls. Sophia, will you advise? Sophia didn't smile, not yet. She had learned not to trust promises that had not met the morning. We'll do it, she said, if the change doesn't end with a room. It won't, Robert said. Evelyn cleared her throat. I'll restructure budgets. Less gala, more ground. John nodded. Training for security, de-escalation, sensory awareness. I'll lead. The kitchen breathed. Shoulders lowered. Someone laughed. Real, this time. Upstairs, they rolled rugs and dimmed lights. The staff worked like a choir. Pillows. Canopies. A swing that whispered, not squeaked. Shelves with baskets labeled in clean writing. Brushes. Bells. Textures. Space. Michael stepped in, slow. He touched the wall, the pillow, the swing. He looked at Sophia. Then, at his father. He took Robert's hand, small into large, and pressed it to his own chest. Robert closed his eyes. The room held its breath. Days folded forward. Mornings began with matching breaths. Afternoons with walks under trees. Sophia taught Robert the small languages, 2 taps for more, a palm turn for stop, a bell for ready. Robert taught himself how to speak softer than money. He failed sometimes. He tried again. On a Tuesday, when the light was kind, Michael stood between them. He watched Sophia's mouth. He touched Robert's throat. He frowned with effort. And then he lifted his chin. Dad. It was a rusted key in a long-locked door. It was a shiplight finding harbor. Robert fell to his knees so fast he almost missed the floor. He didn't hide his tears. He let them be rain. He held his son like something priceless that couldn't be insured. Thank you, he whispered to Sophia between breaths. Sophia shook her head. He did it. You let him. Word spread. Not the gala kind. The kitchen kind. The kind whispered over coffee and echoed through paychecks that finally arrived on time. The mansion was still marble and glass, but it learned to bend. It learned to be a home. Rich versus poor didn't disappear. It changed shape. It became a question that the hallway asked every morning. Who gets to feel safe here today? The answer was no longer, whoever can afford it. It was, whoever needs it. What would you change first if you had power? Policies or tone? Have you ever seen a house grow a heart because someone refused to look away? If kindness cost you your pride, would you pay in full? 7 nannies were fired for less. One maid stayed for more, because a boy used 2 small words to rebuild a very large life. When a child's first words can topple a billionaire's ego and rebuild a home, what do you think truly makes a family rich? Money, or the courage to listen? Share your thoughts and any experiences you've had with kindness changing a powerful place.